Welcome back to Time to Change. I'm Chason Forehand, and in the house today, Tiffany Connauton. Oh my goodness. And I'm really sad that my co-host with the most, Dr. Melissa Robinson Wine Miller, could not be here. She just texted me from the plane, her and her husband, Dan. I'm waving to them. They're going to be able to see this, but she just started maybe a month or so ago being our new co-host, and she is phenomenal. But she is on a plane because she's been doing a whole bunch of speaking, TED Talks, all the things. She is absolutely brilliant. She would love you. She would absolutely love you. And when I had accidentally, even though she told me that, that she wasn't going to be here today, I accidentally sent her all the links and everything. And she's like, I really enjoyed checking Tiffany and all the stuff that she's doing out. So you guys will have to connect. Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness. Tiffany Connauton is the CEO of Beyond Diversity and the creator of Uncharted. And we're going to dive into all of that today. But the first thing, I absolutely love this statement. What if business success was measured by the number of people we didn't harm? So I want you to talk about that for a little bit. Well, actually, what we should do is really you tell a little bit about yourself, but then and you can tell my ADHD kicked in because I've been dying to ask that question and I'm staring at it. So we'll back up for a we'll, we'll back up for a second. Tell the audience about you, and then I'll ask that question.
Well, the two actually kind of go hand in hand, so it's not
Perfect.
necessarily a bad thing. Um, so I created this amazing company called Beyond Diversity for a number of reasons. My personal story, very close and near dear to my heart, was one of those reasons. I worked in a very toxic workplace culture for a number of years, did all the things that we were taught to do, head down, work harder, be stronger,
Mm.
suck it up, put on your big girl panties, all the things. And what that led to was a close encounter with my kitchen floor, a diagnosis of PTSD, severe anxiety disorder, panic disorder, and a few others. So, I mean, super high achiever. I did all the things. Coming out of recovery from that took about a year. And weekly therapy, all the things that go along with those struggles and all the learnings that came with it. So
Yeah.
while it was a very difficult experience, I learned a lot, not only about myself, but about the world, about our workplaces, about what works and what doesn't. I take my business degree, add it all together, and we have this beautiful company called Beyond Diversity. So when I first started the company, I was like, we need to change the conversation. So if you go back into the days of the early Beyond Diversity, you'll see that pretty much as my tagline for quite some time is like, change the conversation. We have to talk about things differently in order to make change. If we keep talking about it the same, we're going to continue to do the same things. And I started to refine what that felt like. And I'm like, so why is changing the conversation so important? And what it comes down to is for the last however many decades, we have measured business success by dollars. We've chased
Mm.
more and more and bigger and better and fancier, shinier, but we've never chased less harm to people. And if I think about what future success looks like in our world that we are all struggling through right now, it is less harm to people. And if we could wake up every day as businesses, as individuals, and we can be like, I'm going to make someone's day great today, or I'm going to go to work and I'm going to make sure my team's okay today. And if those were the things that we talked about as measures of success, I think that not only would we have a more fulfilled life in general, I also think that our businesses would flourish greatly. I don't see how there's any losing in that particular statement. So it has really become the crux of what I do, and I put it in that negative connotation for a reason, and that's just to get people's attention. Because right now, I don't know that there is a wide public awareness because we don't talk about it. We suck it up. We put on our big girl panties. We get tougher. We get stronger. Put our head down. Work harder. We don't talk about what's happening in these workplaces. you've worked in cultures very similar to mine. And I think that, the more we talk about it, that it's happening across industries, that it's happening across country borders, that it's happening all over North America, and very likely across seas, then maybe we can actually start solving it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it takes collaboration, and I think it takes us listening, and I think it takes us being part of wanting to actually be part of a solution versus driving metrics that have always been in place. So you mentioned that, and I love it. I'm curious. I'm curious if at the time that you were going through recovery, did you think about how at that time were you focused solely on I've got to recover, or were you already thinking about I can put something in place that's actually going to prevent another person from being where I am now?
Both. So, and I say that because quite literally, while I was on my kitchen floor that Sunday, something really remarkable happened. And I was sitting there and I remember thinking two things. I'm all alone. Um, no one's ever had to go through this. And immediately after, I'm like, there is no way that I am the only person that's ever gone through this. We've
Yeah.
just never talked about it. So, as I started to kind of get through, especially that first kind of month and a half, it was really rough. But after that came this idea of how am I going to use this experience to make sure that it doesn't happen to others? Because there was no way that I was going to go through all of this work and not change the story for other people. I knew there was other people going through this. So the idea of that I was going to do it was always there, almost right from the very day that I hit my kitchen floor. How that was going to look or what I was going to do took much longer to come through. And honestly, I would say probably started shaping up more towards the end of that year and maybe even like at the year and a half mark when I started to get my confidence back, when I started to, tell my story, when I started talking to people and I started hearing their stories and being able to put together these really in-depth solutions for organizations so that they could stop harming people that they were trying to actually employ.
It's incredible. Did you find when you started talking to other organizations about this work, did you find them receptive, or did you find walls?
Both. I mean, it was oh yeah, there was definitely both. And I mean, both within the same organization. I would talk to individuals and, there was some that were like, "Oh my goodness, we need this. We know it's happening.
Yeah.
What can we do?" And then we get to a certain level of leadership or, kind of around a certain corner with different leaders and they're like, "Oh, no, 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 no. It's fine. Like it's not that bad here. Like that stuff
Oh,
doesn't happen here." So,
oh,
some industries were a little harder than other industries. It's been an amazing social experiment
yeah.
on human behavior, if nothing else, that has taught me a lot about resilience, to be honest, because there is no excuse that I've faced yet. I'll put it that way, for why it's okay for me to be on the kitchen floor. And
No.
a company that doesn't really have a heart or a soul or feelings is making, pick a number, $5 million, $1 million, even, I mean, think about it, $100,000. So they're making $100,000 because they've got a culture that they didn't want to spend the resources to fix. And I'm on my kitchen floor. So what's the justification, right? So I came out of it with a little bit of a, unfair advantage, we'll say, because there's nothing that can convince me that that type of situation is okay. So the conversations are really fun. I enjoy them.
I bet. I bet. I and I applaud you for doing the work
Mhm.
because that's where it starts. We all have our story and our journey, and that creates and fuels the flame for what we're passionate about and how we do the work. And I love that. I love that you're doing it. There's a there is something that you created called Uncharted. And I've been watching this progress and watching all the things and like this is really cool. And I love that this one line, the future demands more, and this is how you prepare. So tell us a little bit about Uncharted.
Uncharted is, oh, it's gonna make me cry.
Mm.
Uncharted is the culmination of all of the things. So, as an entrepreneur, Jason, you know how hard this stuff can be,
Mhm.
especially doing the work that we're doing. You know, like there's good days, there's bad days, all the rest. But we do this work because we want an impact. And I was finding that in the work that I was doing, what was happening is I'd go into this organization, I call it parachuting. So I'd parachute in, I'd have all those fun conversations, I'd get my opportunity, and I'd go in, and I'm in this organization of 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 people. Um, and I have to figure out where they're at so that I can create a solution. So, step one, let's start doing assessments, and we're going to start doing focus groups and individual interviews, and we're going to do surveys, and we're going to get this all this information. So I would learn things like, oh, there's teams that are way up here. They're super good. They're safe. They're psychologically safe. Like all the things are there. They've got emotionally intelligent literacy. It's awesome. And then there was teams all the way through the gamut down towards the bottom who are just starting their journey.
Yeah.
Um, and part of the problem with that is that organizations, as much as I was, kind of holding them accountable earlier for their results versus what they're doing to people, they're also in business to do business. If they go bankrupt, none of us have jobs. So we do need them. And in that case, I'm like, they can't afford for me to do all these individual solutions all over the organization. So what's the answer? Well, let's go somewhere in the middle. You do all this aggregate and you average it all out, and you're like, okay, here's the solution band. Well, that solution band is below your top performers. They don't get the growth. They don't get to move anymore. They have to stay there. And sometimes they even backslide because they see everybody else is like down here and they're like, well, why are we up here? For those that were just starting the journey, oftentimes that middle of the road average, solution was too far for them. It was too big of a step for them to take. So here I am sitting going, I've done all this amazing work and I know all these amazing things and I want to share this journey with people. Yet the impact that I'm having within companies is a fraction of what it could be, especially with the data that I have. So that happened. And then I started kind of thinking about different ways of shifting people's behavior. We've PowerPointed people right out the front door in a lot of cases. And I don't love talking at people. It's not my favorite.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, we got to do things differently. So kind of, over the course of about 8 months, I would say there was all of these little ideas, and I'm no word of a lie. 2 o'clock in the morning, this is like my shine time. People have ideas in the shower. Mine's 2 o'clock in the morning. I woke up and I'm like, Uncharted. And I ran downstairs to my office and I spent 10 hours
Oh,
straight
wow.
brainstorming and dumping all of this stuff out of my head. And I'm like, I have it. I so have it. And that was where Uncharted was born. I started the process. It's now trademarked. There were so many things. But what it ended up as is it is a 5 session program over 2 half days. There's a lot of reasons for that. The 2 half days is because it's really emotional work. So it's hard work. It's not work that we have been taught how to do before. A lot of it's very new. We want to give people time to process. We also understand that, because we are all, I argue that we're all neurodivergent. There's no such thing as neuronormative because we all have different brains. So we all need different processing time. So giving that extra half day for people to go away with the information is amazing. So it starts off with emotional intelligence and literacy. You can't do hard work without that level of emotional intelligence and literacy. How do we talk about hard things? How do we accept hard things? So that's where it starts. And then I do my signature bias lab, which is not workshopping 180 cognitive types of bias.
Mm.
In fact, what it is it's designed so that people get to feel what it's like to make decisions with their natural biases, and then it demonstrates to them how those natural biases will cause them to fail and how that feels. And we actually do that over the course of several different exercises so that people can understand when they're in the moment, back at their jobs, they're doing their thing, and they're like, yes, we've got this, we've succeeded, we made the decision. And hopefully they'll feel that feeling and go, whoa, hold on, I've been here before. We
Yeah.
need to pause, go back, let's like recheck what's going on, So we really bring in the experiential learning. People are up out of their seats, they're interacting with themselves and one another, and it's really a beautiful thing. Um, and then we noticed that people often want to change and they don't know how. They don't, what's that first step? What's going to happen? I'm fearful of failing. I'm scared of falling on my face. I'm scared that there's a straight line that I'm supposed to follow and I can't see it. So we brought in an incredible storyteller, a very powerful storyteller, Jessie, and she tells her story from how she went from being this A type personality leader, get it done, do it now. I mean, she's very honest in her story where she talks about how she's the one that created the toxic workplaces, and she realized that that wasn't the way to be. And she tells like a beautiful story about her journey and how it was up and down and around, and really just gives people permission to be able to change and be able to take that first step, and whether they trip and fall, it's okay, and all the things. So that's the first half day. We send everybody off.
Yeah.
They enjoy the rest of their day, they go about doing what they do, and then we bring them back for a second half day. The second half day starts with another trademark program of mine called the Empathy Walk. And I won't give out too many secrets about it because it is quite an experience. But basically, in this empathy walk, what we do is we create a space where people can see themselves and each other completely differently. And we get rid of all of the roles, all of the responsibilities, all of the job titles, all of the team norms are all stripped away. And we become human. And we get to see each other human to human. And there's a lot of really cool things that happen in that space. It's pretty heavy. I would say,
Yeah.
if I had to guess, about 95% of the time I'm pulling out the tissues either for myself or for somebody else,
Yeah.
um, because it is something where we're not used to being human and we're not used to being seen as human. So it can be pretty impactful for a lot of folks. Very beautiful. And once we're done that, the magic of Uncharted is we have a 2-hour facilitated action planning session. So we work people through individual exercises, tabletops, pairs, bunch of things, and they create their own 3-month action plan. Now, that
Wow.
3-month action plan is based on what they learned in the program, they themselves as individuals, where they're at in the organization, and what environment they're at in the organization. So we actually create change agents within the organization. So the entire, as we send them out the door, the entire organization is ready to shift based on where they're at. So those teams that were way up here that we talked about, their leader and they have all created action plans that now allow them to move even higher. And what does that mean? What does it look like for those that are just starting the journey? Maybe they're learning new rules or new language, new ways of talking to each other, but they also get to shift. So now, instead of having to hire people like me to come in every couple of years and assess your culture and kind of get, a marginal solution, we actually are able to create quite an impact because all of the people that go through Uncharted are now empowered to become change agents within the organization themselves, and they create their own action plan. So the ownership is high, the leadership within the organization is high, the engagement is high. It's quite powerful. So
Wow.
that is Uncharted. And yeah,
Wow.
it has been a great ride so far. I'm so proud of Rena and Jesse. They're my other two team members that helped me with Uncharted, and I'm so excited for all the impact that this program is going to have. It is, and it has already had.
I was
Like
gonna
just
say it already is having, right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
love the video. So there's this video of the 3 of you, and then there's, like, uh, and then all of a sudden you're going backwards and you're talking, and then you run into the next person, and then there's the next person, and then the one lady's outside, and then I was like, "This is the coolest video ever." Like, it was fun. I watched it multiple times, and I was just like, you know what? I love the fact that you're having fun and that you're excited about what you're doing. There's a there's a million look, if nothing happened during the pandemic, we created 5,000,000,000 coaches. It's like, okay, now all of a
Yeah.
sudden everybody's a coach and everybody's got, because it's like what a whole bunch of A personality people decided to do while they had all this time on their hands.
Exactly, yep.
Crazy thing is, not everybody's a really great coach, and not everybody's really meant to be a coach. There's a lot of people that need coaching, and I believe that everybody should have a coach, including people that coach. Yeah, I think it's super important, but it's I love how you've found this, how you've defined it, and how you're connecting with other people to relay it and make it something that's really impactful for companies. What would you say is the biggest challenge when you go into an organization and you're presenting your material? What's the biggest challenge that you run up against?
It's the fact that we've never talked like this before. So, Rena opens up with emotional intelligence, and she's talking about above the line and below the line and the quadrants. And, she has to take quite a bit of time just to even set the foundation of emotional literacy, because it's not something that we have to do. So it's something that we pay attention to, is this idea of psychological safety within these groups. And it's a different level of psychological safety. This is not, hey, I'm having issues at home, or I have a gambling problem. Like, we are taking this to a level where people are in a space where they don't know what they're talking about. They know that they're feeling something, they can't articulate it. They're learning, they're growing, they're like, what's happening? And they're amongst
Yeah,
their peers. So it is, I would say, the largest challenge is creating that safe space. To date, we've been able to do it every single time. So
nice.
yeah, that doesn't mean we're always going to be able to do it, but as of right now, all of the sessions that we've run, we've gotten extremely positive feedback on being able to create that safe space for people to grow and to learn. A lot of it comes from the three of us all having personal stories, sharing those personal stories,
Yeah.
being very vulnerable, bringing Jesse in as the storyteller. I think 100% helps with that particular challenge. But it's all new. This isn't, we haven't taught people this way before. We haven't expected them to show up this way. And then we're also throwing in brand new language and skill sets and competencies, and we're calling them human skills. And they're like, why are we talking about this at work? So the fact that it's all new tends to be one of our larger challenges. Yeah.
I
Especially for
love
that
that you
first half day.
and that's just the first half day. You've got 2 half days, but I mean, it's a ton of learning. And
It
it's
is.
I love that it's, learning human skills. We don't stop being a human when we go to work. We don't
Exactly.
I've always yeah, I've always had kind of an issue with work-life balance, and that what the heck does that mean? I
Yeah,
I'm the same human being, and I'm at work or I'm not at work, but I really it should be whether or not I'm in alignment and what am I doing and how do I feel and how am I reacting and how do I
absolutely.
respond to the people around me and what kind of leader I'm being and all of the things that you're teaching and that you're talking
Absolutely.
about that we don't talk about on a regular basis and that we don't teach. Even in college or university, we're still not really talking about it. And
No.
you mentioned, I call it courageous conversations, but conflict resolution, and how we deal with our internal conflict and how we deal with conflict with other people.
Yeah,
So I think it's
absolutely.
really intuitive that you start with, you know, EQ and some of the conversations to lay the groundwork, tell the stories, and then open it up on day 2 for that deep learning and dive. I think it's really, really impactful. I'm excited. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for what this means. So, oh my goodness. How do
We'll have to move
people
you up to Canada, Jason, so that you can actually participate in one of
I would
these.
love that. I would absolutely love that. That would be fantastic. That would be fan What is the best way for
Mhm.
people to get in touch with you?
Right now, so the because all of the things are happening all at the same time. My website is it should be the brand new website, shiny. It should be coming out in the next week. I've got
Cool.
two amazing human beings designing it, working with my IT support. So three human beings will be responsible for creating this masterpiece. Once that is up and running, there'll be a ton of links and you can click and you can go and you can get hold of me. In the meantime, or the simplest way is just to email me at tiffanyc@beyonddiversityinc.com. For business owners out there, shorten your URL while you can. Just saying. All the things you learn after the fact. I would have called it BDI, but I didn't. So yeah, it's tiffanyc@beyonddiversityinc.com.
Very cool. Well, when this airs, we should hopefully your website will be done. We'll have all
Should
the
be.
links in there for everybody, and we will drive as many people that way so they can see your brilliance. I love this. I absolutely love what you're doing. It was a pleasure to talk to you, off the camera, and
Oh yeah.
I'm a big fan. So I'm a big fan. I appreciate what you do, and I know that you ladies are going to have a lot of impact on companies far and wide. But I thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story a little bit and sharing what you're doing. And I am thrilled to have you on Time to Change. We have been with Tiffany Connauton. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being part in the house with Tiffany. I appreciate it so much. This is Time to Change. I'm Chason Forehand. And next time, catch us with our co host, Dr. Melissa Robinson Weinmiller. Will be back in the house and we will have another great show for you. Until then, take care.
Thanks, Jason.